Hello everyone, welcome back to Strong Compute 3D Compute Manager. Today's update, we have a bunch of UI changes that will make it easier to use the Compute Manager as a dashboard. So you may remember in the previous iterations of this program, we had like a little card in the top corner that would just show whatever, like information about whatever thing you wanted to see. We've still got a very similar system to that. So if you click on, for example, a region, there'll be a little card in the top corner. But now you can drag it around all over the screen and you can pin it to the screen so you can open up other stuff and have them up simultaneously. So it's not just limited to one piece of information at a time. If you really needed to see a bunch of info at once, you can do that. Let's show some of my favorite examples is if you created a job. We've also got some new UI for creating jobs and stuff, and it's a lot nicer. Say we're going to use, I think we've got enough space for 128. Yeah. So we've got a job here. If I wanted to constantly see the status of this job, I can just pin it and drag it somewhere else while I go do other things. So I can go manage my cluster over here, change its settings, and I can see the status of this job as it's going. Even if I go and burst it, I can see its status while it's doing all that. It's going to update in live real time. And so this is going to enable us to put up all kinds of data that you need, such as graphs about performance, or resource usage. You can have them all over the screen, just chuck it up somewhere and have this be your oversight over your infrastructure.
Very cool. So Xander's built a windowing manager inspired by my requests of make it more like Banished, make it more like Banished, make it more like Banished.
That's
right. So for those of you who ever played Banished, it kind of looks like having 50 windows open on your screen at a time as you're like trying to track everything that's going on in the game. And I think, for me, I feel like, society lost out when we started going to like, let's make everything like an iOS app where like you can only see one thing at a time. Like, it's great for kids. It's great for a really small screen, but we're managing really big resources here. So yeah, we need the ability to actually see more than one thing at a time. So yeah, pretty happy with this. So just in terms of how this pinning works here. So if I pin something, that's sort of what stops those buttons impacting it at the top. So if you just pin that sandbox tools in place.
So if I were to just unpin everything quickly, they would kind of go away.
Right. So it's like a close.
So the windows will emulate the previous behavior where if you click on stuff, it will pop up and whatever you've clicked on will focus. But if you decide you pin it, then any new thing you open will not overwrite it.
Okay, now if you pin one that's there without moving it, what happens then?
Then the next thing will open over the top of it.
Jump over the top.
The next thing we got to work on is if you click on something behind, it will bring it to the front, which is very intuitive in how Windows work, but it is something you have to implement manually. But yeah, everything will like open over the top of each other. I'm also considering making it so if you move it at all, it'll pin by itself, but I think that might get a little annoying if you like misclick and like accidentally drag it, it'll pin.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're going to move it, you're probably going to pin it. So
yeah, might make it so if you move it at all, it just pins itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you really needed this up, we're all good.
Awesome. All right, we got a window manager. And you probably notice a lot of GPUs on the screen right now. It's about, 4,000 or something there. And this is based on us sort of just running some tests for at what point is it still practical to manage single GPUs with this platform. We think it's probably around that number, but we'll see, and we'll also be able to test that interactively with a game soon, where rather than leasing 4,000 plus GPUs, you'll actually get to play with 4,000 GPUs
absolutely.
And see how it goes.
We're gonna have to do a lot of optimization here.
All right, now we still have our console over on the right of the screen. I also noticed that if you actually shrink the screen, that's right. It will happily snap to the bottom. So it tries to find sort of the widest or the longest place to be to maximize your visual area, which is pretty cool. Now, the console is going to show you the API commands used if you perform any interaction while the console is open.
That's right.
However, if the console is not open, it's not like logging them historically, which I think could be interesting if you're like, hang on, I just did this, I forgot to have the console open.
Sure.
What was the API command?
Yeah, that would be actually really intuitive for the user. We should we should implement that. The way the console works right now is if the console is open, it'll intercept whatever's happening and print it to itself. So there's no like external system managing the console commands. The console is its own window listening to whatever's happening in the 3D world. So if we'd like to have it print extra commands, we can absolutely do that. We're just gonna have to link some more things up in the back end so it's constantly running instead of just being up when this window's open. Cool. I think it would be very beneficial for our users and our players to be able to go and have this console closed so it's not open all the time, and they'd be like, I wonder what the API command is for that. I'm going to open it and take a look. Yeah,
so maybe rather than opening and closing, it's like hidden or visible.
Yeah, hidden or visible is a good way to put it, for sure.
Cool. All right, Xander, this is exciting. You developed a windowing manager. You didn't use any plugins for this, right? Like this is Xander's Windows.
Yeah, there's one lightweight library used for the drag and dropping. Other than that, all the UI and the pinning and stuff, that's all me. The windowing itself is me. I've used a library for the moving functionality and the resizing. Some of these will resize if there's more information that you need. I think I've disabled it for most of them, but some of these you'll be able to like open up and resize.
Yeah, nice.
For the ones like graphs, where graphs can be as big or as small as you want, the resizing will be really important. But for some of these, like the sandbox tools and that, they're just kind of a window. They're just going to sit there.
Widget. Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Xander.
No worries.